A millionaire once asked his young daughter to choose a new mother from among 5 sophisticated, wealthy women. But when the truth came out about who had truly cared for the little girl, he shocked everyone by choosing the black cleaning lady they had all despised. "This woman shouldn't even be in the same room as us," Victoria Ashworth whispered to the others, her diamond earrings catching the light as she watched Kesha Williams quietly sweeping crystal shards from the marble floor of the Blackwood mansion. The glass had been knocked over at lunch by one of the 5 glamorous candidates competing to become the wife of widower David Blackwood. Kesha, only 28, had been working there for just 3 months, yet in that short time she had transformed. The life of 7-year-old Emma, who had lost her mother in a tragic car accident the year before. What none of the women knew was that every cutting remark, every look of contempt, every attempt to humiliate Kesha was being recorded by hidden cameras and microphones. That morning, as Emma stood in the doorway to her father's office, she had asked in a small, puzzled voice, "Daddy, why are those women being mean to Kesha?" The question had echoed in David's mind ever since. The marriage contest had been his therapist's suggestion. Let Emma live with several women for a short time and choose who she wanted as her new mother. David had carefully selected 5 women from high society: a lawyer, a doctor, a businesswoman, a socialite, and an architect. All white, all rich, all seemingly perfect. But from the very first day, something ugly had emerged. Led by the cold and ambitious Victoria Ashworth, heir to an oil fortune, the 5 women waged a subtle but relentless war on Kesha. They did not see her as a threat romantically. She was just the help. But Emma preferred her company to theirs, and that wounded their pride. "That girl needs to learn about social hierarchy early," declared Priscilla Montgomery, the lawyer. During a dinner they thought was private, she should know who's appropriate for her social class. They didn't know that David, troubled by Emma's sudden return to nightmares and anxiety, had installed microphones in every room. Kesha had a degree in education but was cleaning houses to support her mother's cancer treatment. Her kindness toward Emma had been instinctive, and it sparked the women's cruelty. She endured it with bowed head and calm voice, but her humility was strategic. She had faced worse and learned that the best revenge comes to those who wait. The next morning, Victoria gathered the others in the mansion's private library to plot her removal. They used phrases like cultural incompatibility and appropriate social circles. But their meaning was blunt. They wanted the black cleaning lady gone. They didn't know Kesha had grown up hearing such talk, the daughter of a housekeeper who'd been fired after the employer's son grew too close to her. At 14, Kesha had learned that polite words could hide cruel truths. And at Clark Atlanta University, she had turned that knowledge into a quiet weapon. Emma, running too. The kitchen that afternoon was intercepted by Victoria with an offer to play chess. "Kesha taught me checkers yesterday," Emma replied. "She said games help you think better, no matter what they are." The comment tightened the air. "Some games," Christina Hawthorne murmured, "are more appropriate for certain people." At that moment, Kesha appeared with warm cookies, her voice smooth and unshaken. Victoria tried to suggest she was overstepping her role with Emma. Amanda Chase, a hotel heiress, insisted she keep professional distance. Kesha's polite smile never faltered. "I've always been taught that caring for children means giving them what they need when they need it." That night, David saw through the cameras as the women schemed to document Kesha's misconduct. Professionalism and their discomfort with her natural bond with Emma. Then came the teddy bear incident. Emma's most precious toy, a gift from her late mother, went missing only to be found in Kesha's closet. Emma's eyes were confused and wet with tears. Kesha simply hugged her and whispered, "You know in your heart I'd never take anything of yours." People who love you wouldn't try to confuse that heart. The 5 women saw this as victory. David saw it as proof of their cruelty. Early the next morning, Kesha called her sister Diane, a CNN producer and former investigative journalist, telling her every detail of the harassment. Diane promised to dig up everything she could on the women. At the same time, David hired a private investigator, Marcus Thompson, who uncovered a litany of scandals. Victoria had been expelled from charities for financial misconduct. Priscilla had faced multiple harassment and discrimination lawsuits. Christina had lost her medical license in 2 states. Rebecca Sterling had been investigated for tax evasion. Amanda was being sued for creating a racially hostile work environment. These women, Marcus told David, aren't just prejudiced. They're predators. Kesha was also preparing her own counterstrike. She contacted her former professor, Dr. Angela Morrison, a leading expert on child development, to conduct an independent evaluation of Emma's emotional well-being. The goal was to make her findings legally indisputable. With Diane gathering damaging evidence and Dr. Morrison providing expert testimony, Kesha was turning the tide. The final act came on a Friday when David called everyone into the drawing room. The women arrived expecting the announcement of his choice. Instead, they were greeted by a large screen, Dr. Morrison, Diane, and Marcus seated beside David. Before I make my decision, David began, I'd like to share some findings. He played video after video of their cruel comments, manipulations, their sabotage, and their conspiracies every moment matched against Kesha's unwavering kindness and professionalism. Then Marcus laid out their scandals, each backed by public records. Diane revealed that their names were already under review by journalists for a major expose. Dr. Morrison read her evaluation. Emma's happiness and stability were directly tied to Kesha's presence, and removing her would cause severe emotional harm. By the time the last piece of evidence was shown, the women's faces had drained of color. I think my daughter's choice is clear, David said. Emma doesn't need a new mother from this group. She already has someone who loves her like one. Turning to Kesha, he added, I owe you an apology. Let this go on far too long. If you're willing, I'd like you to stay in Emma's life, not as staff, but as family. Emma ran to Kesha, wrapping her arms around her waist, and for the first time in weeks, the little girl smiled without hesitation. The 5 women left the mansion that day in silence, their reputations already beginning to crumble. They had underestimated the one person they thought powerless, never realizing that her patience, intelligence, and dignity had been the most dangerous weapons of all.